Hi, 3 steps to get more results from life today. It doesn't matter who is involved, particularly if you're broke, if you have been looking for some level of breakthroughs. I want to share with you some very important steps you must take to turn things around for yourself today. Well, my name is Abel, and I am your host on the Morning Talk Show with Abel. On this show, I talk about business development, marketing, sales, and finance. Above all, I motivate you to take some steps, considering the fact that a lot of times, what we really look for on the outside is actually right inside of us. That brings us to this very point, and of course, this topic today. And I can assure you that once you begin to do the things I am about to share with you on the show, your life will begin to experience some tremendous level of success, some positive changes. I say this because I have experienced it myself before, and I'll tell you, regrets comes most times from the excuses we create. The thought of regrets should never have been if excuses never existed. But sadly, excuses is one thing that fuels our thoughts each day of our life. As for me, I did a perfect job creating lots of excuses to justify my circumstances. I feel really pained sometimes when I look back and analyze the ways I did that job perfectly. At these times of my life, I relied heavily on excuses as a way to actually help justify my circumstances. My low level of productivity, my inefficiencies, my being badly broke, losing money, failing in businesses, not making the kind of sales I ought to have been making, exhibiting some terrible habits, and even my attitude. I found excuses good enough to justify all of it. But I didn't know that I was actually harming myself. Unfortunately, the truth is, almost everybody does this, including the government, the leaders, our parents, families, relations, friends, just name it. How could they not do it? Or how could you not do it when it's so easy to make excuses? In fact, someone said it is inherent or inborn. Now let me share with you this very short story between my kids last night. First, my son had asked me to get him a cup of tea. I got up and made him one. But the young man abandoned it and was busy watching his cartoon. Accidentally, the sister pushed the table and everything popped. As soon as I looked at her, she pointed straight at the brother with this sort of murmurings, as if to say her brother kept the cup wrongly on the table and she hit it. Now her expectations was for me to actually put the blame on her brother. That's how inborn excuses are. Imagine a child of just 2 years of age putting up excuses for a wrong act to avoid blames. Why is that so? Simply because it is inherent and very easy to do. Now let's analyze how excuses affect results using some economic terms. Now in economics, we've been made to understand that using the laws of demand and supply, when demand decreases, supply increases, and price drop really fast. Isn't it? Its application to our daily lives goes. When you make more excuses, you put in less work and the value diminishes. Before I explain this further, let me give us a life example. Now, assuming you want to make 1 million naira in 30 days and you have a product that sells for 10k each, what this means is that you need about 100 people to buy your product within 30 days. Now, you have only 8 active hours each day to run that business. So let's do the maths here. You know you always have to do this if you are targeting to make progress, especially as it borders on making money. It is simply about clarity. So you know how to get about what you need to do. Some people will call it budget, others call it targets or whatever. The idea here is knowing the direction in terms of expenses and income. So let's go ahead and do the maths now. If you have 8 active hours as time to work for each day and decided to use only 4 hours for calling your customers to buy your products or calling prospective customers to buy your products for at least 5 minutes each day for each customer, it means for each hour you will have 60 minutes. If you multiply 60 minutes by 4 hours, you have about 240 minutes. Now go ahead and divide 240 minutes by 5 minutes and you have 48 persons. It means for each person, you will spend at least 5 minutes calling them to buy your product or services. Those who understand the concept of cold calls will attest to this and how it works. So let's move. 48 persons multiplied by 30 gives you about 1,440 persons to call per month. If each one pays you 10K, you will be having about 1.44 million at the end of the month. That's high above 1 million that you are targeting. So what if you make only 70% success? It means you have 1.08 million after 30 days of work without excuses. At low, maybe 40%, it means you have 576K at the end of 30 days. Now don't forget that you have extra 4 active hours to do whatever you want to do on the other side to bring more income. But a typical you and I will definitely have this in common, and that's excuses for not achieving the set goals. First, we'll complain about not having enough airtime to call. We'll complain about our poor phones, bad network for telecom providers. We'll say it is too early to call some customers because they are busy at work, or even help to create excuses for the customers by saying he or she has a bad day and as such he shouldn't be called. We will complain about our work environment by saying it is too hot or too cold. We'll say we are hungry, or probably our salaries are too small, or maybe the boss doesn't like us. So what becomes the result? Less work or no work at all. What then becomes the value created? Simply loss of relevance. Our competition begins to take our customers away from us. We become broke because no sales is coming in. Those who believed in our products before begin to lose interest. Then we begin to hate those that are succeeding. Fights erupts, gossips, witchcraft becomes the order of the day. Now to explain this using these economic terms, this is what happens. Excuses are the demand when you want to fail. You create excuses. More excuses created brings about the next action, which is less work. Work is of course the supply. So here, work or inputs to get things done becomes less because excuses can be created easily at any time to save you from being bashed or getting blamed. Now, you know what to say when you don't do what needs to be done. After all, it is inbound. On price, it is the value. When excuses is increased because of less work being done, gradually people begin to run away from you. Trust is lost. Dependence on you to get things done diminishes. You become of zero value. In other words, your price drops drastically. This indeed explains us on each day's task. You're either increasing your value or decreasing it. And the first two actions are excuses and work determine the divide that you find yourself. But as we all know, 99% of us don't ever want to give excuses. Now, a songwriter, Tope Alabi, once said, a child starts lying even when he or she has never seen anyone lie before. What that implies is that excuses are inbound. The good news here is that it can be dealt with. So today, I would like to show you the 3 simple ways I've used to help myself to get rid of excuses. Maybe you should try and see if it would work for you. Here are the 3 ways you can do it. Number 1, consciously understand and acknowledge the fact that no matter the excuses you create, it will never change or improve your situation. This is a rare and face-to-face truth you must tell yourself. I remember having my businesses failed so badly a few years ago, and all I did was to keep blaming my employees for putting me in problem, blaming those partners who deceived me, blaming my customers for harassing me and not believing in me. I blamed everyone and everything else except myself until I realized I was not making any headway. Rather, I was getting even more broke than I ever imagined. So when I decided to take responsibilities, everything changed. My finances took a spike. My health enjoyed unimaginable progress. My family became happier. This was during the same period I achieved unimaginable financial success. So you must consciously understand and acknowledge the fact that no matter the excuses you create, it will never change or improve your situation. Now the next step is for you to make a list of the excuses you use or you hear on a regular basis. For example, if you're used to saying, I don't have money, I don't have the time, or I've got kids, or I don't have kids, I'm married or I'm single, I have to find balance in my life, I'm overworked, I don't have the time to study, our prices are too high, the customer didn't show up for the meeting or for the appointment, the economy is bad, the government is not performing as they ought to, or maybe NEPA or PHCN has a problem, they're not giving you enough light, or probably MTN or Glo poor network, coronavirus is preventing sales, or you're too tired to go to a gym, your spirit doesn't go with that person, or the person is too proud, or you just don't want to be in the same room with the person, or he or she talks too much, or the person is too boring. Excuses like it will take too much time for you to do, or you don't really understand how it works, or you were told that it's impossible, or you probably slept off, or you were sick so you couldn't do it, or you're not good at reading or speaking, you're not a graduate, or you're not advanced. I don't know why I hate it, or I hate her, or I hate the job. Or you're probably a temperamental person, you're too temperamental. Just all those lists of excuses. Listen here, my dear friend. As genuine and as polished these excuses are, I can tell you that none of this will solve your problems. It will rather take you away from the work you need to do to get the needed successes that you so desire. And for your information, because these excuses are inborn, you must learn to pay attention to yourself on a daily basis. Now the third and last is where you should begin your journey from today with. This is what you must do. Number 3, sit down with your list and find ways to take responsibilities. For example, if you are in the habit of creating an excuse of not having time, why not change it to something like this? Instead of I don't have any time or enough time, say this to yourself. I am not being productive enough with the little time that I have. Instead of I don't have time to study, say I need to spend at least 30 minutes a day to study so I can become better because it's important to me. Instead of saying I don't have money, say I will find something to do and get money. Instead of saying our prices are too high, say I am about to properly demonstrate value to my customers so they can see how valuable our product is compared to the price tag. Instead of saying I have kids or something else, just say I'll plan my schedules with my kids so I can also do other things in good time. Now instead of I'm married and can't do anything to make money, say something like, since I'm married and won't be able to work outside, let me find something I can do from my home and begin to make money as a wife. Instead of I am overworked and can't do other things, say how can I have more energy to do enough, especially those that are important to me. That's it. Excuses are really about you accepting responsibility. If you can't do these things, it is actually your inability to. Learning to accept responsibility for everything is literally the key to changing one's life. Now remember this. You cannot control that which you refuse to accept responsibility for, basically. If you want more control in your life, stop making excuses and start taking responsibilities. So be aware today of any excuses you make, then try to find a way to accept responsibility for it. Now in closing, let's talk about a major excuse I closed my mind about. You see, after my banking days, I got really broke. I was quick to explain my situation of being broke to anyone who ever cared to listen to me. I gave excuses from spiritual battles to wicked employers Excuses about a non-working government who is supposed to provide me with a job. I gave excuses about those I knew in high places that were not helping me. I gave excuses about those I helped to get jobs and are not taking care of me. Excuses, like I said, are actually inborn and very easy to find and provide to whoever cares to listen. Unfortunately, these were not at all my problems. My problem was refusing to face the realities before me and taking full responsibilities. What were these realities? To have financial freedom, you must be doing something. To know what to do, you must acquire knowledge. To become the go-to, you must raise your skill level. The day I realized all of this, I got up and picked a book to read. I started attending seminars. I ravished all financial success books I came across. One day I picked up my phone and called the owner of a telecom business and told him, I am the best salesman ever in the country. He probably laughed and thought I had gone crazy. Well, we got into deals without a dime in my pocket. And within 90 days of doing business with him, I made my first $1 million. This was me going slightly insane. This was me who couldn't afford a meal a day. This was me who was already using powder as a deodorant. This was me using only Paco or chewing stick as you would call it because I couldn't afford to buy a toothpaste. I took responsibility and everything changed for me. I would have remained there and probably dead and rotten in my room because truly I was down broke and there was no one to help me out. Now listen to this. For some of you experiencing shortage in energy supplies to turn things around for yourself instead of waiting for the government, for you who is currently selling a product and not getting the kind of sales you want, for you who is about to quit on life because nothing ever seems to be working, I have a very strong message for you. Stop and restart your life today. I was a millionaire before I got broke. To those who know me, then, of course, they can attest to this. I got so broke that I was ashamed of myself. There was a day my father had asked me to come home for prayers, and I told him I wouldn't come home until I make money or my dead corpse were brought home. The old man got scared and got on a taxi the next day and came to my house here in Abuja. After a long discussion, we resolved, and truly, I didn't go home until things began to change for me. The first changes came when I got married and took my wife and first child home to see my father, and we were all happy. Finally, I want you to listen to this. There is a way out, and I want to work with you on this. I wrote a book, How to Start a Business Without Money. Rather than make excuses that the banks are not borrowing, instead learn some special skills I have taught in this book and start using it to raise money for yourself, just like I did. Or start creating more sales for that business that you have currently. And in furtherance, once you get this book, you will be admitted into my masterclass group for young hustlers and of course businessmen, where I will have a one-on-one interaction with you on a day-to-day basis while I take you by the hand until you start making those millions that you want to make. Now, in case you want to know specifically what can change your life, let me give you a hint. First, you will learn everything about social media setup that works and of course its marketing process. Secondly, I will teach you how to set up yourself from the very first month and start telling your story. Next, you will learn the major hard tricks of successful internet experts, which is content creation. You will be able to create as much content each day and schedule it throughout the day while you enjoy your freedom. Again, I will teach you how to prepare and send proposals to businesses that work. Next is, of course, using all the offline skills like cold calls, pitching, and the likes to raise sales for your business. And much more. Those things that will turn around your life. Now, to get a copy of this book, all you have to do is to go to the link on this page or below this video and grab your copy. I would ordinarily give this for a value in hundreds of thousands, but no, I'm asking you to pay for just the printing and the shipping cost wherever you are. And that's just about 7,997 naira, 97 kobo. I'm sure it's very cheap. We have just a few copies left and won't be producing more anytime soon. By the way, I just need a handful of students to work with in the first phase, or rather in this phase of the project. So go grab your copy today. I'll see you again soon, but I won't say bye without thanking you for listening. And importantly too, please share this and tag someone who you think needs it. My name is Tim Abel.